Zeal Akaraiwe. He is the Chief Hustling Officer of Grammy Black Advisory, a financial advisory firm focused on risk management with 20 years of experience spanning human resources, administration, corporate banking, sales, treasury, and financial management delivered across Lagos, London, Lusaka. He established a track record of several firsts in Nigeria and in Africa while serving arduously with Standard Chartered Bank. Zeal has actively participated as a member of several governing councils. He is a member of the National Assembly Business Environment Roundtable, a member of the Derivatives Advisory Group, FDAG, FMDQOTC, and Securities and Exchange Commission, ISDA Work Group. He is also the founder of the Angel Project. The Angel Project actually is one of those projects where someone just shows up. You just find out that you're in the hospital and it's almost like as though your bill is overwhelming you, and then you just hear that someone has paid. That person that has paid is under the umbrella or directly done by Zeal himself. And it's the Angel Project. He is the angel. He's been angels to so many people, and it is focused on releasing convicted prisoners who have the option of fines and still engage to ensure the decongestion of prison. Zeal is the author of It Is Time. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your time to hear from Zeal and expand your mind on financial intelligence like you have never before. Online and here, please welcome Zeal Akaraiwe.
Behind schedule, so I'm going to speak a bit quickly. And luckily, I don't have a lot of notes, so I don't have much to say. But there are 2 or 3 things. We're talking about financial intelligence, creating, sustaining, and growing wealth. So what I've noticed in talking to people about financial anything is most people will tell you that wealth and riches are the same thing, and they use both interchangeably. Possibly from a dictionary definition, that may be correct. I'm not really sure. But what I tell people is separate the definitions. If you separate the definitions, then it's going to change the way you think about a lot of things. I say the easy one to define is the accumulation of assets. You can count riches. Whatever the assets are, houses, cars, money, stocks, bonds, whatever it is, is the accumulation of those assets. That's what makes you rich. You've accumulated a lot of assets, you're rich. We can count it. We can tell you A is richer than B because A has $1, B has 1 naira. So A is richer than B. It's very simple. But there's wealth. Wealth, and I tell people this, I'm not saying this is what the dictionary says, but I'm saying if you can conceptualize it this way, it has a lot of advantages. Wealth is a mindset of abundance. Big difference. Reason being, you can be rich and not wealthy. You can be wealthy and not have an accumulation of assets, not be rich. Reason I use this definition is because the opposite of rich is poor. If you've accumulated a lot of assets, you're rich. If you don't have any assets, you're poor. But the opposite of wealth is poverty. Not the same thing. Yeah? So wealth is a mindset of abundance. Poverty is a mindset of lack. So you can have a mindset of lack and have a lot of assets. And so you will mistake somebody with a lot of assets, somebody who's rich, who's attempting to accumulate more assets. You can mistake it as greed. It may really be poverty because all he's thinking is lack. What I have will soon finish. I need more. And so it's that mindset that drives people you see to be rich to seem, and you keep wondering, he has 6 cars, he has 10 houses, he has all of this money. What's he still doing trying to take my 200 naira? Yeah, because if you have a mindset of lack, it's impossible to be satisfied, which is why you see poor people, people that don't have assets, they are often more generous Because they know, I survived yesterday. I survived 2 days ago. Anyhow, I'll survive tomorrow. You give them one, okay, they're like, I have enough. So the difference is wealth is the mindset of abundance. Poverty is the mindset. Contentment is the mindset of enough. So it's important to separate these things so that when I talk to you about being wealthy, you don't mistake it for being rich. Now, the mindset of abundance invariably allows you to be rich. But you don't need to be. So, for example, let me ask a trick question. Let's assume that you need to spend for the rest of your life, just for argument's sake, $1,000 a day. Every day for the rest of your life. That's what you need. And it will solve every reasonable problem you have. Reasonable, right? And so you can't keep any of the $1,000. Every day, whatever you exhaust it. You can't keep any of it. So if you spend $900, you must give out the remaining $100. You can't keep anything till the next day, right? But you know all of your school fees, your rent, everything you need is covered in there. How many people will agree to that deal and say, I'll give you a card. This card, the limit is infinity, but you can only spend $1,000 a day and you cannot keep anything till tomorrow. How many people will agree? Some people will agree. Some people will not. A lot of people will not. A lot of people won't know. What's the point of investing if all your needs are met? So a lot of people will say no. 80% of people have asked this question will say no. You know what that means? All they want is to accumulate. They are not trying to satisfy a need. They are trying to accumulate. So I'll give you a life story. Somebody walked into my office. I won't use the exact figures, but just an illustration. And he came to me and said he had 20 naira. I said, okay, what's the problem? He says he needs 100 naira. I said, okay, in what time frame? He said, about 1 year. I said, dude, if I could change 20 naira to 100 naira in 1 year, you wouldn't have met me here. I would have been out there doing it, borrow all the money in the world and do it. But what do you need the 100 naira for? He says he needs to buy a house. I said, okay, what do is your landlord kicking you out? He says, no. I said, is your rent due and you can't pay? He says, no. I said, so what do you need a house for? He says he needs to buy a house so he can rent it out. I'm like, rent it out, why? He says he needs income of 5 naira a year to give his wife, because that's what it costs to run the home and pay the children's school fees and all of that. I said, okay, so you want to settle your wife so that you don't have to be worried about the home front and school fees? And I said, yes. I said, okay, why are you doing that? And he says, there's a business idea he has. And he knows that that business idea is going to blow. But it's going to take him maybe 3 years. And he needs to put things down, concentrate on it, really work hard for 3 years. And he doesn't want the distraction of trying to make money. So this 20 naira he has, he wants to get it to 100, buy a house so that for the next 2 or 3 years, his wife can be collecting the rent. Now, on the surface, that's very intelligent, isn't it? It's a smart thing to do. It's forward thinking. So I asked him a simple question. All of you are nodding. I'll ask you what I asked him. If you convert your 20 naira to 100 naira and you buy your house and you rent it out for 5 naira, you will get 5 naira a year, right? For how many years? Yes. But he needs the money for how many years? 3 years. So 5 naira a year for 3 years is how much? How much does he have now? Yes. So how much does he need? How much does he have? Just what he needs? More than he needs, yes. Exactly. And that is the danger of poverty. Poverty does not allow you to see what you have. So he looked at me and said, that's a good point. And he got up and left. I said, give your wife 15 naira now. And you're done. And you will have change. So he came into my office with a mindset of lack. I need something. But he left with a mindset of, I have more than enough. And guess what? His resources did not change. Nothing changed, except how he saw what he had. And that's the difference. That's why the rich, those that have accumulated assets, get richer, because they have a wealth mindset. We, that are on this side of the rich side, don't. And so we're always thinking of accumulating, and they are thinking, I have all of this already. How can I deploy it to get more? Now, let me give you another example. If you say you need 1 million naira in 1 year, for argument's sake, right? When you get 1 million naira in 1 year, have you hit your target? No, your target is 1 million naira. And you hustle, and after 1 year, you've got 1 million naira. You've hit your target. But do you know the danger of that? If your car goes bad, and you need 100,000 to fix your car, it's going to be very, very hard to take from the 1 million. You know why? You want 1 million. I want to be a millionaire. If I remove 100,000 from this 1 million, I'm not going to have 1 million again. And so people that have monetary targets find it very hard to spend from it. Because they're like, if I take money from here, I'll have less. And they always want more. And so you see people with money and with problems that the money can solve, and they are not solving the problem. I'll tell you a story quickly. I went to hospital. I do that once in a while. Long story short, this guy died. People had contributed money for him. Some of his friends from abroad had sent money. He needed this particular, very expensive medication, right? And if he had a surgery, he couldn't take that medication. Long story short, he died. He had a lot of wounds. So when they were dressing him for the mortuary, and they were removing the bandages, there was dollars stuffed in the bandages. Yes. People that had sent him money, he had stuffed, and they found more than enough money for his drugs. He was keeping it. Real life, yes, yes. This happened 2018 or 2019, yeah. That's a poverty mindset that you want to accumulate. As in, when I get out of here, I have things I want to do, but you don't want to spend the money because you think this money I have, if I spend it, I now won't have again. So what I tell people, first of all, when we're talking financial intelligence, do your best. It takes practice. Do not denominate your desires as money. Do not denominate your desires as money. The world has conditioned us to break everything down to money. So if someone comes to you and tells you, for example, another real story, someone went to someone I know and said, please, I need 5 million naira. And the old man said, sorry, you know how things are, military, I don't have. And the guy left. What did he need the 5 million naira for? He needed to buy a car, 2 cars, 2 Toyota Corollas. He would drive one as Uber and give the other one out to someone else to drive as Uber, so that he can make money, so that he can send his son to school, a proper school. Right? Is the 5 million naira a reasonable request? It is. Is the assignment he has put himself on reasonable? It is. Are his plans reasonable? They are. But he denominated his request as money, 5 million naira. The person he was speaking to was the owner of the school he wanted to send his son to. Yes. If he had told the man, I need my son to be properly educated in this school, the man would probably have said, that's my school now. I can sign up for him to be on scholarship. Yeah. So the moment you denominate your desires as money, you are giving whoever you're asking, if you like, call it God, the universe, life, your uncle, your mentor, whatever you call it, you're giving that person only one way to solve your problem. If you denominate your desires as desires, you are opening multiple doors for them to be met. Now, the other thing is, I say, is money has only one use. Well, and who knows what that is? Money has only one use. Who said that? As what? Yes. Money's only use. The only thing money is good for is to be spent. Because if I give you the Nigerian pound of 1940, is it money? Yes. Can you spend it? No. The only usefulness of money is to be spent. You need to remember that when you're accumulating it, because what are you keeping it for if you're not spending it? It's meant to be spent. So the moment you have problems, and what I said this a few weeks ago somewhere else, and I said, I don't pray not to have problems. Because as like Dr. Zeal says, it's life. We are the ones that call them problems, right? I call them life. If I fall down and break my leg, it's not good, it's not bad, it's life. It happens. Because when the hyena eats the antelope, it's life. When the lion wounds himself and cannot catch an antelope and dies of hunger, it's life. It's not good, it's not bad. Right? So I don't pray not to have problems. I pray that every problem I come across, I can solve it. So if I come across a problem and the solution is money, I'm excited. Because if I can denominate my problem, money, I should have mentioned this first. For me, money is an illusion. Money is not real. And not many people understand that because we hold it, we deal with it, right? But money is not real, it's an illusion. It's really an illusion because if I send money to you now into your bank account, your phone will do plim plim. You will look, you will see 1,000 credits. Did you see the money? Do you know if it's there? But you will send it to somebody else, and the person will give you water. And you, as long as we all agree, there's a movie I watched, they said that the whole world is an illusion, but the illusion we all agree on is what we call reality. So that's money. Money is not real. So if you can denominate your problems as money, then you are reducing your problems to illusions. But if you denominate your desires as money, then your desires are illusions, and you can never catch an illusion. So in financial intelligence, how do you create riches? You create riches by changing your mindset about money and wealth. The mindset of abundance. The mindset of abundance is one that does not withhold. If you have 300 naira, and you have the mindset that this 300 naira I have now, I have my car, there's petrol in my car, my house is 10 minutes from here, it is 8 p.m., I'm going home to sleep, and somebody stops you and asks you, please, I'm hungry. The mindset of abundance will have no issues giving out the 300 naira, because I'm going to calculate between here and my house. And in any case, what is 300 naira going to solve for me? Which problem will I enter that my solution is 300 naira? So that 300 naira for me, as a person, is an equivalent of nothing. Because it can't solve any of my problems, right? So this person that will solve his problem, the mindset of abundance will let me give him. The mindset of lack is going to say, this 300 is not even enough for me. I need to build it up. And you ask, you need to build up this 300 naira to 100,000 naira. So you still have 99,700 to go. Is it, if you get 99,700, is it this 300 naira that will make a difference? And it's a mindset. It's not an actuality about whether you need or not. It's just a mindset. Every time you have the mindset of abundance, it changes not just how you think or what you think. It changes what's called your morphic field, the energy around you. You become an easygoing person. When people are talking to you, you are not stressed. I know nobody wants to do business, or rather, very few people want to do business with desperate people. And people that have a mindset of abundance are never desperate. So you bring a business idea to them, they look at it, okay, we can do it. They're very calm about it because they're thinking, I can do it. Not, no. And then someone says, are you sure you can do this? And you say, you know what? Let me call somebody else. Maybe we'll partner in it. You know, but somebody else, for instance, you carry, your AC is not working. And then you call your carpenter that's fixing something in your house. I say, this AC, do you know an AC person that can fix my AC? You know your carpenter will likely tell you, okay, I know where I feed one. Will you give the carpenter the job if you are normal? No. And you would maybe even not trust him. You say, you can do AC. You say, okay, AC, plumbing, carpentry, mechanic, all of them I fit do. You see that carpentry work I've given you, I'll say, don't worry again. You know, the mindset of abundance has no issue sharing money, sharing opportunities, sharing ideas. If you know the number of people that have walked into my office, they have an idea, they want me to help with the idea, but they don't want to share it. Like, how do I know, Zeal, you won't steal my idea? And I'm like, okay, if you keep it to yourself, can you do anything with the idea? No. If you share it, I may or may not steal it. Maybe I will steal it, maybe I won't. But if you keep it with yourself, you're 100% sure the idea will go nowhere. So which risk are you willing to take? The mindset of abundance is going to say, like Dr. San says, your thoughts are your weapon. They're your asset. You know what I tell myself? How did I generate this idea? If I generated the idea from me and you steal it, it's okay. I will generate another one. If they steal that one, it's okay. I will generate another. In fact, the more of my ideas you steal and succeed, the more confidence it gives me that, oh boy, that my idea is not bad. Then maybe I will start selling the idea. But the person who has a mindset of poverty that wants to withhold will never share it. And the way the universe works, it drops an idea in your mind that is valuable. I assure you, the universe has dropped it in other minds. And the person that is most efficient with the idea is the one that gets the reward. That's the rule I've found that works. So how do you create wealth? You create wealth first by changing your mindset and thinking of wealth as a mindset of abundance and thinking of life as ups and downs. You take the ups with equal stride as you take the downs. That's just life. You lose your job sometimes, you will get a job sometimes, you will get a salary increase sometimes, you will cry sometimes. And the book, I know we don't like it, but if you read the book of Ecclesiastes, what I advise people, whether you're a Christian, Muslim, does not matter. Read it beginning to end at once. Just read it. It will take 15 to 17 minutes. Just read it. Because you're going to find a lot. It's very powerful. Life is about ups and downs. Wealth is about ups and downs. Wealth is about a mindset. The moment you control it and you understand it, then you start to see the opportunities, because it's like, imagine a farmer with a sack of corn, right? He has just one sack of corn and he's hungry. He has two options: eat the corn or plant the corn. It's his choice. The mindset of abundance will plant. The mindset of poverty will start worrying. What if I plant and rain does not fall? What if I plant and tomorrow I'm hungry? What if I plant and they steal it? And then the adage, a bird in the hand, will come to him and say, make a chop. YOLO, you only live once. I will chop and now. I bet tomorrow will take care of itself. That's fine. But you have the resources and you've eaten your seed. And tomorrow, you have to beg for seed. But if you plant your seed, and to plant that seed, you know what you have to do? You have to let it go. You have to be willing to risk it. And so I tell people, when investing in particular, interest is like autopilot. You know, autopilot cannot take a plane off. You need brute force and skill to get the plane. Once the plane has gone through the cloud and the turbulence, you know, that's the rough part where you need a lot of energy. When you are gliding, no stress, no problem, what does the pilot do? Autopilot. That's interest. When you've accumulated riches, you've gone through the work, the hard work, all the strain, and you've accumulated riches to a level where you can tell yourself, you know what, calm down. Then you can invest it for interest. Interest is like autopilot. To guide it, you can glide on it, right? But if you want to double your money, in Nigeria, give you an example, it takes you, with the interest rates in Nigeria right now, it will take you maybe 8 years to double your money. If you have ₦1 million and you put it on interest-bearing stuff with the financial institutions, and you want ₦2 million, 8 years is how long. And 8 years assumes an interest rate of about 10%, which I'm not even sure you'll get right now. Right? But if you risk your millionaire, you know what might happen? You might lose it. But the mindset of abundance does not have an issue with losing things. But again, if you put the millionaire in the stock market, you can lose it as well, but it can double in 2 months. Right? The mindset of abundance has no issues losing things. It's the mindset of lack. And let me tell you, all of us in this country, one way or the other, there's an environmental poverty. So guess what? When I worked in London from about 2006, and I'll go out with friends and all that, and more than 3 times, somebody will sit next to me, will start a conversation, they will look at my table, and they'll say, "You're a Nigerian, right?" I'm like, "How do you know that?" I mean, since you guys are the ones that carry 2 phones. I'm like, Then I started paying attention. Most Nigerians have 2 phones. Most Nigerians have more than 1 bank account. Most Nigerians have more than 1 source of power. Those that can afford it will always have more than 1 car. Do you know why? Because we are always anticipating lack. We are always, all my time I worked in London, I worked in Lusaka. Nobody that I went out with, that we went into a filling station, filled their tank. They go there, £15 for all they buy. You go to US, $20 for all they buy. I'm like, what? Nigerian, fill up. Why? So we don't get what we need. We are always anticipating lack. I said this to one of my friends, and she burst out laughing that when she travels, when she gets into London, that one of the first things she does is plug her phone and then iron her clothes. Until her host said, "Why are you ironing?" And she almost said, "In case they take light." You know, it's environmental. We are conditioned to anticipate the fact that what we need we will not have. And so what you have, hold on to it with dear life. It's an environmental poverty. So we have more than 1 bank account. Why? In case. In case of what? In case of incasity. Or we don't have an answer to that. We have more than 1 phone. Why? In case. In case of what? Yeah, one of the very few. I mean, do you know how... See, she's not a Nigerian. She's not a Nigerian. She has, so don't worry. It's something you need to identify. And how did Dr. Sar say it? Accept it. Acknowledge and accept it that our environment breeds poverty. And I'm in the environment, and so I would naturally, based on being in this environment, breed poverty. I acknowledge it. I accept it. Now, I can look at how to change it. Because if you don't acknowledge it and don't accept it, you'll be in denial. Say, in Jesus' name, I'm not poor. Okay, it's fine. I am bred in an environment of poverty. If I want to grow out of it, I must acknowledge it, accept it, then go and learn how to change it. And start looking at myself. And I told one of my friends in the banking sector, and I told him that if each Nigerian had only 1 bank account, Nigeria would be a better place. If each Nigerian had only 1 SIM card, Nigeria would be a better place. You know why? When you walk into your bank and they mess up, you walk into your bank at 3:30, and they are messing you up till 3:50, and all the banks close at 4. Most people that have another bank, what will they do? They will rush to the next bank. You see that issue that was created? It will never be solved because nobody. If that's my only bank, you know what will happen? We die there. You see me and you in this banking hall. I don't have an option. My back is against the wall. I have a flight to catch at 7. You are messing me up. We die here. And guess what? When you do that, whatever caused that problem gets fixed. But we don't. So the mindset of wealth is one, freedom, two, constraining at the same time, because you're willing to make a sacrifice. It's very important. The mindset of wealth is willing to make a sacrifice of your time, a sacrifice of your resources, a sacrifice of your capital. If you're not willing to sacrifice, it becomes extremely difficult to multiply what you have. If somebody gives me 10 billion naira today, at 10 billion, I can do autopilot. At 10%, that's 1 billion a year. 1 billion a year is what? Almost 80-something million a month. I will live on it happily. I can coast. But if you give me 100 million and I want a billion, in 8 years it will be 200 million if I do it on interest. I have to risk it. Even if you're not risking all of it, I have to risk some of it. Some of it you will lose. That's life. But the mindset of abundance, like I said, has no objection losing things. Because like an idea, you generated the idea from inside you. If you understand that wealth is a mindset, you are generating your wealth from inside you. You know what that means? Unless you lose yourself to mental health issues like Dr. Sass said, you can never lose your wealth. So the concept of loss does not exist. I started work with nothing as a fresh graduate. I started working, I made money. Salary for 15 years. Then I lost my job. And I lost a lot, if not all my money. And then I started a business. Did some things, made some money, did some things, lost a lot of the money. But I was able to tell myself, when you lost your job and you started really nothing. You've gotten this. How did you get it? You generated ideas that got it. Now the money has gone. What do? You don't cry after the money. You go and sit back and say, if I generated one idea that gave me 10 naira, then maybe I should generate 5 ideas or 10. Is there a limit to how many ideas you can generate? Just keep. And that's where the self-confidence comes from. And the first story I gave you about the card that you can spend every day, that's where contentment comes from. I have everything I need. I might not see it today, but it's there. So my son's school fees for next year, it's there, to be there. Am I worried about what I'll eat next week? Sort out next week. That's contentment. Now, when you have money and you spent everything you need to spend and you have surplus, that surplus, depending on what you do, but money's usefulness is to be, let me say, let go of. Let go of it into an investment, that's fine. Let go of it into charity, that's fine. But you see, in rounding up, I'll tell a story. I tell this story every time I talk about financial anything. Money. Okay, let me ask it in a different way. How many people pray frequently? Doesn't have to be every day, but once in a while you pray. Okay. In this year, has everybody here prayed this year? Yeah? Okay. Has anybody here prayed and said, God, you see this week we're entering. When I go and poo-poo, I want to poo-poo, big poo-poo, the biggest poo-poo I've ever seen. Does anybody pray that? Has anybody prayed and said, God, can I please eat well? Can I afford good food? Does anybody pray for food? Good food, well living, good living, and all that? Yes. Yes. When you eat, where does the food end? Stomach? After the stomach? Exactly. So you want food, you pray for food, but you don't pray for poo-poo. Why? I love that. Poo-poo is a consequence of eating. So guess what? Money is poo-poo. Money is shit. When you understand that, money is a consequence of something. So the same way you don't pray for the consequence, you pray for the input. You pray and say, please, when you want to poo-poo well, and you finish eating, you drink a lot of fluid, you eat fruits, you have a balanced diet, right? Pata, 2-3 days later, you end up where? Toilet. Is it when you want to go to the toilet, you buy your toilet roll? No. What do you do? The toilet is there, is waiting. The toilet roll is there, it's waiting. The water is there, is waiting. When you finish poo-pooing, how many people stand up, turn around and say, ah, my poo-poo. You are fine today. Oh. I wish I didn't have to flush. Does anybody do that? Immediately you finish, what do? You get rid of it. Money is poo-poo. Money is a consequence of a process. Once you engage the beginning of the process, whether you like it or not, once you've eaten, whether you like it or not, 2-3 days, that poo-poo is coming out. Whether you like it or not, whether you prepare or not. If you treat money like that, you know what you're going to start asking yourself? What is the cause? What do I need to do so that in 2-3 months, 2-3 years, whether I like it or not, I'm getting this. And it's not when the money comes, you start to plan what to do with it. Before it comes, I remember I said this somewhere, my wife was there. Sorry for myself. And I said, if I get £1 billion on Monday, barring documentation issues, by Friday, it's gone. I know exactly that it's gone. And my wife said, what are you going to do with it? I said, so you won't give me any. And I said, that's not the point of the story. But the point is, before you get it, a lot of people say, Zeal, when I get the money, I will know what to do with it. Like, if you say so, but that's not how the laws of money work. The knowledge of what to do with the money is a thought. That thought can become imagination. That imagination drives your emotion. When your imagination and your emotions coincide, it creates what Dr. Sars calls energy in motion. That energy is a magnetic force. Knowing it. So I'll give you an example to round up. If somebody wants to buy, for mostly ladies here, you want to buy a handbag, and there's this particular handbag of a particular color. Once you've imagined it, and you don't have the money for it, but you've imagined it, you've seen it, you've gone on the internet, you've Googled it, you can see it. You see, you've made your imagination much more tangible. When you see someone with the bag, what are you going to say to your friend? Not the owner of the bag. You know what you most likely say? Exactly. You're not going to say, that's the bag I'm going. No, it's no longer in the future. That imagination driving your emotions brings everything to the present. You will say, that's my bag. That's energy. That's how it works. You're not futurizing it. You're what we call in finance, present value your desires. You're not saying, I want money. I want that bag. How many ways? Wait, if your birthday is tomorrow, and someone says, what do you want for your birthday? What will you say? Exactly. You won't say money. And that's what I mean by denominating your desires as desires, not as money. Because somebody may say, you like this mustard cockroach Maggi yellow. Somebody gave me last for Christmas and I don't like it. Take. That's how it works. So people that understand this, understand that you have the power to generate your desires through your imaginations and your emotions, through the mindset of abundance. And once you know that, and you can do that, guess what? When you have a need, you're not going to panic. You're going to say, I'm going to generate it. Because you understand that it comes from within you. Now, that's very different, and that's what should drive you into business. Once, I'm not talking about business, what you invest, doing crypto and all of that. Because when you have this mindset, it starts to drive not just your desires, but the opportunities that come your way, because it works as a magnet. And you will start to think and react differently.
There's a question that says, since we're not supposed to denominate our desires, how do we measure progress?
Well, you're not supposed to denominate your desires as money. How do you measure progress? how many of your desires have you achieved? So what do you want out of life? I don't like using the word purpose, it's too cliche. But what do you want out of life? You want to have something. Then you ask yourself, why? I want to have $1 million. Why? So that I can rent a house in Ikoyi. Why? So I can live in I'm making it short, so I can live in a safe neighborhood.
Why?
Right? Well, let's even stop there. So what do you really want? Do you really want $1 million? No. Do you really want to live in Ikoyi? No. You just want a safe neighborhood. So how do you measure that progress? You look around. Am I living in a safe neighborhood? That's what it is. What do you? And I tell people when I used to work in the bank, I said nobody really needs money. When you come and borrow money, nobody needs money. The guy who's importing petrol will go to a bank and borrow $10, $20 million. He'll tell you he needs money. He doesn't need money. Banks figured this out, and they created letters of credit. They will charge you for money, but they're not doing anything. A letter of credit is just basically a promise from one bank to another bank that I will pay you. Based on that promise, they release the goods. So somebody else comes and says, I want to build a house. I need 50 million naira to build a house. Give me 50 million naira. Do you want 50 million naira, or do you want the ability to build a house? What will you do with the 50 million naira? Cement, iron rod, sand, glass, aluminium. Does not pass that. Pipe. Okay, what if I can supply you all those things, and when you finish and then sell the house, then you can give me the money? So what do you really want? So it's like building a house. How do you measure progress? Is progress how much you have in the bank, or how high the house, how much has been put into the house? So once you denominate your desires, and your desires should be limitless. Don't have one desire. Don't have 10. Don't have 50. Granularize them. You want a desire, granularize them down to how much hair do you want on your head? How many times a day do you want to eat out? Where's the place you want to eat out? Bring your desires down to that. Then progress is how many of your desires you are meeting. And that's where a quote and unquote, for me, that's where a fulfilled life comes from. I'm doing the things I want to do. That's it. So I want my children to be this. I want to do that's what, for me, that's progress, that my desires are being met. Now, if I'm conversing with you, I can converse in the language of desire. I can also converse in the language of money. If you only understand the language of money, I ain't got the time to teach you on the go, so I'll converse to you as money. But if somebody understands the language of desire, then I can converse to you in desire. So it then gives you flexibility. Then you just tick off. Someone says, oh, I want to have 10 million in the bank. And then you tick it off, say, I've made progress. Why do you want 10 million in the bank? Just in case. In case of what? In case, Zeal, but you can't say this. What if something happens? We have to save. I'm not saying don't save. But why are you planning for adversity? Why is adversity in your imagination? But Zeal, people fall sick. Yes. You see, and that's something why the Western world is generally, not necessarily because they are richer, but they are wealthier than us. You know why? The average citizen of a Western world does not worry about sickness beyond the discomfort of the sickness. You know why? They have health insurance. If they are sick, they walk into hospital, they get treated, they leave. They don't have to think about money. When it's time for their children to go to school, what do? They go to school. They don't have to think about raising money to go to school. You know what that does? They are not thinking about lack. And it gives the mind the freedom to explore. And that exploration is what makes the nation exactly.